Hi, I'm Dave, and this is Marie, and we're the old school Soulmates. And we thought we would do a little video and just sort of tell you a little bit about us and a little bit about the channel and how we got started thrifting and what our goals are and so forth and so on. So Marie has been thrifting since she was probably a baby, right?
Pretty darn close. Started going to work with my father and doing odds and ends type of what we didn't call it thrifting back then, but we would go to the dump and different places and buy stuff and then resell it at flea markets on the weekends. And this was in the late 60s and early 70s, and it was a way to make ends meet. I mean, and it was just, my dad always had a side hustle. There was always something, and it was auto parts or, cars themselves and different things like that. So it has always been in my blood to find something and sell it for more than I bought it for.
And hubcaps?
Well, as time went on, my dad got a little contract with an auto dealership to haul away the junk cars, like the clunkers that people traded in. And we realized there was kind of a market for hubcaps. So, we were just taking them to the crusher. So I would pop off all 4 hubcaps and then polish them up. And we had a little local paper. So I was probably 12, 13 at the time. And I would just list hubcaps for sale, and people would call. Back in the day, they'd call me, and I would, I had a little sheet of paper written down what, a Chrysler hubcap with this hubcap.
Well, how'd you advertise it? Like in
a little local paper?
Yeah,
like it was a free publication that went out to everybody's home. It was called the Yankee Flyer in Connecticut, and I had a little tiny ad in there with my hubcaps, and I, did that forever.
How old were you then? Or?
I was probably 12.
12,
yeah. And cool. But then I went with my dad on the weekends. We would haul the junk cars, and we would take the cars, and anything, we were allowed to take any parts off of them we wanted, so different little parts, and then we would take those. And then on Saturdays and Sunday mornings we'd go to the big flea markets, and we had a flatbed trailer, and we'd sell parts off the trailer.
Wow. So yeah, way before the internet.
way before internet, cell phones or anything. But it was a way to
survive. Your dad was a mechanic, right? So
Correct.
He did mechanical work, and he was around that kind of stuff all the time. He worked for a guy who had a junkyard, basically, right?
Yeah, auto recycler is what
Still
it's
there,
called in
actually.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
So, we don't have those pull-apart places, but it's always been in the blood. I mean, it's just.
So is it true that
there.
you used to run into the cars right before they went into the crushers? Or
I'd run into the crusher right after they yanked out the car because they would pick the cars up and they shake them a little bit before they set them out of the crusher, and I'd run into this big crusher to collect the change that fell out
in the crusher. Yes.
Yeah, in the crusher. My mother just died when she saw that.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're.
Don't try that at home.
No.
Probably you'd get your kids taken away if you
keep
take
your kids out
to
of the crusher. Yeah,
So,
but no, and I said, my dad would buy me crazy things as a gift. He bought me my very own crowbar. So before we would haul the cars away to the crushers and to the thing, I'd pop the back seats and take out all the change. So I've been a scrapper ever since I was a kid.
Since the early days. Now, when we got together, we were both independently wealthy at the time. No, actually,
really.
We were far from independently wealthy. We basically, I think everything in our house, besides our underwear probably, but everything in our house was probably from a thrift store.
Up to about 15 years ago, we had not bought
couch,
any
our appliances, washer, dryer,
everything.
You name it. Right?
All our clothes. Underwear and our mattresses, I think, are the two
things that we did.
And like towels and sheets.
Right.
But,
so when we got together, we were that's what we did for fun. We didn't have any money to speak of, and we lived in a little trailer at Mrs. Widener's trailer, and paid $50 a month, and we went thrifting on the weekends. That was pretty much how we entertained ourselves and found stuff for the house, because we didn't have a lot of money.
Thrift stores were a way of life.
Yeah.
It wasn't a way to make money. It was a way to and absolutely survive. We didn't have silverware. We didn't have pots and pans. And that was our salvation. We we were broke. I
And
mean,
we lived
that was
in
it.
in those days. We lived in Roanoke, we lived in Christiansburg, Blacksburg area actually, and we would go to Roanoke, and there was this kind of a route we would do of thrift
There were a
stores.
lot more thrift stores back
And this
then.
is 1995, 96, I guess, by this point.
Yeah.
But we would go about 8 or 9 thrift stores. There was like 2 Goodwills, 3 Salvation Armies, 4 sometimes, depending on whether we wanted to go to a certain one. There was a couple of AMVETs and DAVs and stuff like that. So there was all kinds of thrift stores. But resale internet it was just getting started about that point. I got my first computer and
Right about
got on
then.
the internet, and the first thing I ever bought on the internet was actually a book about antique cameras, because I started collecting antique cameras from guess where, the thrift store,
Right.
and got all kinds of cool little antique cameras, because they were giving them away in those days, 50 cents, $1. You could buy any kind of old camera, old Kodak brownies, whatever, and they're still probably worth about that much. Some of them are, but
Exactly.
But there was a lot of cool things. So I wanted to find out if any of these things were worth anything. So I found this place out in, I don't know, Ohio somewhere or something, and called them up on the phone, and they were kind of shocked and horrified that somebody had actually found them on the internet. And I gave them my credit card, which was pretty much unheard of over the phone in those days. There's people like, oh, don't do that. But and bought this book, and sure enough, in the mail it came. So that was my first e-commerce transaction. Was probably 1995, before I even really knew what eBay was.
If
or
you don't
anything.
count the ads in the back of the comic books.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We had those.
So
That was e-commerce to us back
right.
then.
Yeah, and I mean, what
4
we
to
had,
6 weeks.
Right. I started, I guess, going to yard sales in my family. They went to yard sales a lot. Yard sales were a way of life for us. I mean, we got a lot of things we owned from yard sales. But through the years, when I graduated high school, I moved in with my best friend from high school, and we lived in the Northern Virginia area. And we would go, there was tons of thrift stores there. And he really introduced me to thrifting proper, at different thrift stores like Goodwill and AMVETS. We used to go to AMVETS every night after work. And before I even moved up there, I used to go to the Goodwill, or to the AMVETS, I'm sorry, and I lived about 60 miles away from DC where I worked. So I would get up there and hang out with my friend, go thrifting, and then I'd realize I don't really want to drive all the way back home. It's maybe gross, but I would go and buy myself a shirt and a pair of dress pants and a tie, and it cost me like $2 and was cheaper than gas. So I would stay up there and spend the night on his couch and go to work the next day in my thrift store clothes. So,
With a new outfit.
With a new outfit. I got a new outfit every day for $2 or whatever. And I mean, even in those days, that was, $2 was actually a pretty good price for a set of clothes.
Exactly.
Shirts cost 66 cents, and $1.66 for the pants. So, something like $2 or $3. So
And you could get a Brooks Brothers.
Yeah,
You could get.
we did get a Brooks Brothers. As a matter of
that's what
fact,
I'm
we got a
saying.
Brooks Brothers jacket,
Right.
And that we shared. Me and my friend shared back and forth. That we got at the thrift store, and man, we felt like we were on top of the world when we wore that Brooks Brothers jacket. But like I say, so I meet her. She found out she's a scrapper and a thrifter, and we start thrifting, and time goes on. Here,
We've never stopped thrifting, and
Marie's in banking. I'm in IT. We started thinking about ways we could make a little extra money for retirement, and I've always been kind of entrepreneurial. I've had my software business before I went to work for this company. I've always had businesses, and Marie had an old time photo in Virginia Beach years ago. So we were thinking, what can we do on the side? And the internet is here, and e-commerce is here, and it's so easy. I've been on eBay since 2001. But I tried to sell a guitar in 2001, and the guy didn't pay me, and the backup buyer didn't pay me, and I just said, forget eBay, I'm done with it.
Exactly.
for the next 15 years. And finally, so we were sitting there I was watching YouTube videos, believe it or not, and I came across a guy named Tino, the Soul Advisor. And Tino, if you're out there, thank you, brother. You got us on the path. This is a guy who check out his channel. I'll put a link down the bottom for it. He made $100,000 a year selling shoes. So, I was thinking, wow, and he was getting these shoes from thrift stores. And we like thrift stores, we like shoes. So I asked Marie, I said, I've got this business idea where you get to buy shoes all day.
Exactly.
And we make money. And the two things she likes, you'll learn about her, money and shoes.
Yeah.
So those are two things.
And the thrill of the hunt.
And the thrill of the hunt. Yeah. Right. So we said, well, hey, Tino makes it look easy.
Yeah, he does.
And he showed us how to clean some shoes up and all this. I was in the military, so I know how to clean shoes, but she, frankly, probably does more of the cleaning than I do these days. But yeah, we went out on a shopping spree and bought 42 shoes.
Something.
And I got to find the picture, but there's a picture of me standing in the bedroom doing a selfie with 42 shoes on the back, and I thought, my goodness, we've got so many shoes.
We're going to be rich.
but I was just amazed by how there's tons of shoes here. Oh my goodness.
We just jumped in, both
and we bought everything and moved, and some things that didn't. And, it's things that we shouldn't have bought, probably, definitely.
Things we have
I would say out of those 42, some of those still here.
We still have them.
42 pair, I would say probably like 38 we probably shouldn't have bought.
We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary on eBay.
Yeah, in July of this year in 2019. So so we were like, yeah, okay, we got this, and we started going out buying shoes, and we went everywhere we went. We go to Florida once a year for vacation. We shopped all the way down to Florida, all the way back. And started building the stock, and started building our processes, and we had to. I'm a software developer, so I built some inventory software to track everything, and came up with the bin system that we use, which is really different than everybody else's, but that's okay. Whatever works for you works for you. Mine's not better or worse, it's just my way. But we have an inventory system. Have everything inventoried, so we know where it is, and we have about close to 1,800 right now, a little bit over listed. 1,800 listed, and a few waiting to be listed. Let's just say.
Just a few,
just a couple, 3.
But then we made our first sale, and we couldn't believe it. Yeah, we were like, "Oh my gosh, we sold something!"
Yeah,
and now we have to learn how to ship. Now and all of these learning, which we thought it was going to be overwhelming, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Like I thought it was going to be harder, and it's not. Yeah. It wasn't that difficult.
And our very first customer was named Edgy. That was her first name, and I was like, "That's not a real person. That's not a real person."
Like I said, the reason we're doing this is because, we think about retirement. It's like, what are we going to do? It's hard to make ends meet. We've got to find something that we can do that we can supplement our income, and something that we enjoy. You don't want your retirement to be as drudgery as your work was. So this is fun. This is something we like to do, and it's a learning curve. Now, this YouTube thing, on the other hand, this is totally new to both of us.
Right, but we figured we'd share our journey because we know that there's people out there like us that maybe you just want to do something at our age and see, because when we watch the YouTube videos, almost everybody out there is probably in their 30s, late 20s, and that's great. I mean, there's some impressive people. We've learned a lot from people out there, and some people that are not in their 20s and 30s, like Hubcap Joe, for example, one of my favorite YouTuber, Joe DeMarco. And we'll put links to all these people that we're mentioning here.
He's the man to go to for, he knows everything eBay.
Yeah. He's been on eBay 20 years, knows his stuff. Tino, we mentioned him.
He's great for shoes.
Craigslist Hunter, that's a great one. If you watch these videos, I'm sure you know who these people are, but Craigslist Hunter is a great one to look at.
But everybody's got something to offer. Every single person. I turn 58 next month. So, I mean, it's not just a young kid's game, and it's not, and YouTube is going to be hard for me. I am not particularly a person that likes to do this kind of stuff, but there's people out there. I work at a bank. I see people every day that are struggling to make ends meet, that are struggling, really concerned about medications, whatever, and they're not enjoying their years. And I'm thinking to myself, gosh, this person is my age or a little, and they feel like, what else can I do? This is something that anybody could do, and that's the reason we're making these videos. It's strictly as a way to help people realize that if you think $1,000 extra a month can help you, that's a very realistic number that
Right.
almost anybody can do.
Right.
We're not going to be talking $1 million incomes here.
We're not driving Lambos and all that good stuff.
We're talking about a good family vacation every year.
Right. Here's the deal. If you're struggling to pay your, medication, this is something that the 20-year-olds probably don't understand yet, but you will one day. Medication's expensive, and there's a lot of different types of medication people are on, and $400 a month for one medication, you can make that on YouTube. On eBay. You can make it on FBA. We also do FBA also, but this is primarily a
we're
eBay.
an eBay business, really. Yeah,
primarily an eBay business. We're just getting started with FBA, but yeah, it's just enough to give you that little extra edge, that little extra few dollars. I know when we first got together, we literally could only make it to the end of the week without, with our pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So extra $50 would have come in handy. $20 would have come in handy. So that's what we're here to do. So
and
hopefully,
it's a blast.
Right? And we enjoy it. We have fun. So hopefully, we'll take you along on our journey. Hopefully, you learn something. I know we'll probably learn more from you and your comments and the stuff that you interact with us. So please leave comments. Ask us anything you want to know. We'll try to help you as best we can. The one thing I didn't mention yet was that we outgrew our house. We were talking about that a little bit. We outgrew our house, and we realized the storage unit really wasn't a good option. So what we did is we found a place in town, amazingly, a little office in a little strip mall that they wanted less than $300 a month for, and it's about 600 or 700 square feet. So
Yeah.
that worked out really well. So, but anyway, we have kitties. You might hear them in the background.
Hear one.
Hear one. And so we're going to get going. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It really helps us out if you could subscribe. If you could like if you like what you hear, press the like button. That really helps us out.